boys and girls. Today we're going to be reading Give Bees a Chance, Words and Pictures by Bethany Barton. And that means that Bethany Barton is the author and the illustrator of Give Bees a Chance.
Give bees a chance. Words and Pictures by Bethany Barton. What's another way to say words and pictures, boys and girls? That's right, authors, or the author and the illustrator is Bethany Barton. Here they say words and pictures, but that also means the author and the illustrator. Here are some pictures that the author has drawn of some different types of bees. Here we have a squash bee. It builds its nest underground. We have a sweat bee because it collects salt from human and animal sweat. This is a wool carder bee. It collects fuzzy fibers from plants to line its nest. This is a European honeybee. It's the world's most common bee. This is a common bumblebee. It's a master of tomato pollination. This is a cellophane bee. It lines underground nests with a secretion, which means like something it makes, that dries to look like cellophane. Cellophane is that plastic stuff that sometimes comes around packages, or you might wrap something in. This is an southeastern blueberry bee. It holds onto flowers and vibrates with its wings to shake out pollen. And this is a mining bee. It digs tunnels in the earth. This is my best buddy, Edgar. We love all the same things. We like board games and dinosaurs, strawberries and honey. And of course, bees. Except for that I don't really like bees. Sure you do. Didn't I tell you there are about 25,000 different types of bees to love? And there's all sorts of names of the bees. Oh, I guess there's even more than on that first page. Maybe. So we've got two friends, and one likes bees and one doesn't. And then I told you all about the 3 types of honeybees. Queen bees, they're the large female. They make all the baby bees. Then there's the drones. They're all boy bees, but they don't have a stinger. And then there are the worker bees. They're small, and they're mostly girl bees who can't have babies. And their job is to do everything else. Gather the nectar, pollen, and water, make honey, feed the baby bees, which are called larvae, build and protect the hive, make the royal jelly to feed the queen, and so much more. So there's always just one queen bee. There's normally about 300 to 500 drones. That's the daddy or the male bees. And the worker bees are normally between 30 and 80,000 per hive. Whoa, that's a lot of bees. This guy says, get them away from me. Blow gently on bees to make them scatter. Whew, thanks. I was saying I don't like bees. But why? Mostly because of their stingers, the attached venom sacs, which are the cause of painful bee stings. That part you told me about last week. Last Sunday, this is a drawing. It says, there's Edgar. He has brave tears because he has an owie on his hand. This says super mean bee, and that's its stinger. But that was just one bee. Couldn't you still give bees a chance? So I guess he doesn't like the bees because he remembers being stung by a bee. Maybe I just need to remind you how weird and cool honeybees' anatomy is. Anatomy is how they look on the outside and on the inside of the bee. Oh my goodness, I didn't know this, boys and girls. Honeybees have 5 eyes, 3 tiny simple eyes, and two large compound eyes with thousands of lenses. They have 2 stomachs. They have a honey stomach for turning nectar into honey, and a bee stomach for digesting nectar. 4 wings. Honeybees have 4 wings. They lock together for flying. Then they come apart for easy storage. Wow. 6 legs. Honeybees have 6 legs. Let's see if we can count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're complete with a pollen basket. It's an area on the hind legs. These are the hind legs back here. Oh, and look, it's this right here. That can store almost 1 million grains of pollen. And then this is our friend who's afraid of bees, who doesn't like them. And he says, and that's the stinger. Ouch. Maybe you just need some time to get to know them. How about millions of years? You know, bees lived with dinosaurs. Scientists have found bee fossils from millions of years ago. And even ancient Egyptians kept bees. In fact, honey from bees was found in Egyptian tombs, and it was still edible. Edible is a big word that means you could still eat it. Edgar says, "Oh, honey." Perfect. Maybe you just need some honey. Bees make honey. Why are you telling me all this stuff? So you'll give bees a chance. Once you learn about how great they are, you're bound to fall in love with them. This is what his thinking is, that he'll like a bee. But here, does he look like he likes the bee? He likes their honey, but he's not so sure yet. Check out how honey is made. A bee gathers nectar from flowers. The nectar goes into the special honey stomach called a crop. Contents of the crop are split into not split. Contents of the crop are spit into a new bee's mouth. The new bee breaks down the sugar of the nectar within her own crop. This processed nectar is passed along to several more bees, who each break down the nectar crop until it becomes honey. Then the honey gets barfed into a honeycomb cell. Maybe we could say spit up. It's kind of gross. And fanned by the wings of the bees to evaporate the moisture. Lastly, it's sealed with beeswax to keep it safe until it's eaten. And Edgar says the same thing I thought. He said, "Did you say barf?" Because that's when it says that the honeybee barfs it into the honeycomb cell. He thinks that's just as gross as Mrs. Wiggin. But I really like honey. It looks like I haven't convinced you just yet. Nope, because they're all going to sting me. Oh well, bees do sting sometimes, but not because they're mean. This says stinger stories. Bees only sting to defend themselves. You look delicious. Back off! So it's going to use its stinger to protect itself from its predator. Or to avoid getting squished or smashed. This is how most of my friends I know who've ever had a bee sting, this is how they've had it happen to them. They've stepped on a bee. In fact, many bees lose their stinger after attacking. Do you see the band-aids on the bee? Which is sort of like your hand disappearing after you pinch your sister. Also, wait, what are you wearing? Bee armor? That's not going to work. It was designed for dragons. I think it can handle bees. Well, there is kind of an armor that beekeepers wear, but it looks quite a bit different. It allows them to collect honey and beeswax without getting stung by startled bees. White color puts bees at ease. Veil protects eyes and neck. That's what this is. It's a veil. A suit and gloves covers the skin. And there's a beehive frame filled with honeycombs. That's what he's holding because he took it out of the hive box. It has removable frames. This is one of the frames for bees to build their honeycombs in. This is funny. Here comes Edgar, and the beekeeper has been collecting the honey, and he's going to take one for himself. I know, I love honey, but I'd be willing to give it up forever to never see a bee again. But giving up bees means giving up so much more than just honey. Some scientists say bees are responsible for a third of all of the fruit and vegetables we eat. Bees have a big impact on the food chain. You see, in order for plants to grow fruits and vegetables, they need the right ingredients. And we learned that last week, boys and girls. What do plants need to grow? Sun, water. Oh, and they don't have the other things in the picture, but you can tell me what the other two things are. We have sun, water, air, and that's right, soil and dirt. But a major ingredient they need is pollen. But since flowers can't move, they can't always get pollen from each other. I want to make a strawberry. Throw me some pollen. I don't have any arms. That's silly. So the pollen has to touch each other. That's where bees fly in. A bee's fuzzy body catches pollen from flowers, and the pollen falls into the next flower the bee visits. They act as pollen delivery service, helping give flowers the ingredients they need. A single bee can visit over 1,000 flowers a day, making bee pollination powers unparalleled, which means without bees, there'd be a lot less yummy stuff to eat. And bees are disappearing in large numbers. This is a missing poster. You don't see these very often. Sometimes you see them for pets. Missing, name, bee, occupation, pollinator. Possible reasons for disappearance, pesticides, parasites, lack of bee-friendly flowers, and pollution. Bees actually need our help. Okay, I take it back. I don't want bees gone. I even sort of want to help them, as long as they don't sting me. Planting bee-friendly flowers is a great way to help the bee population. We've got blue hyssop, coneflowers, and asters. Won't that just attract more bees? Hopefully, yes. But just approach a bee like you would a dog you don't know. Don't get too close and don't try to touch it unless you're a flower. It should lose interest and fly away. And if more people like you give bees a chance, they might just have, well, a chance to make the world a sweeter place. Now, have I told you how much I like bears? Thanks for listening to our story today of Give Bees a Chance.